Hello and welcome to MCN. My name is Carl Stevens and today we have been riding this. It's the cfmoto 800 NK. So, as a bit of an overview, the middleweight or the upper middleweight naked class is bursting with incredible bikes. Honda's Hornet, which is under £7,000. You've got GSX-8S, which is our current favourite, the current cream of the crop. You've got KTM 790 Duke. You've still got Yamaha's incredible MT-07. There's so much to choose from. And now there is another addition to the mix. This cfmoto 800 NK comes in at £6,999. So it's right at the bottom end of the middleweight market, with the only thorn in its side being the incredible pricing of the Honda Hornet, which is the same price. So let's break it down a bit. We're going to start with the engine. As some of you may or may not know, cfmoto and the Pierre Mobility Group, so KTM, Husqvarna, Gas, they go hand in hand. It's one of their brands. So this, what you're looking at, is essentially a 790 Duke for under £7,000, which is pretty impressive. So it's the same engine, 799cc parallel twin, so it makes 90 brake horsepower and 58 pound-foot of torque. So it's a really impressive number. It's exactly where it needs to be. We've been running it today in Nice and the engine is still incredible. I actually did the launch of the 790 Duke, the original one, many years ago now, and it was absolutely amazing. It's so playful, it's so thumpy, it's such a fun-inducing motor. It's exactly what I want from this category. It brings you smiles, it's aggressive, it's fun, it's torquey, right from the bottom end all the way up, and it keeps on revving too. Saying that, it's still slightly rough at the bottom end, especially in sport mode. It can be a bit prickly, it's a bit aggressive on pickup, and this standard model doesn't come with a quick shifter, and the gearbox it's not the smoothest thing in the world, it's not the most refined thing in the world getting into gears, and I also had a few sort of times where I sort of jumped in and out of gears where I was just struggling to get in, where maybe I was being a bit too aggressive, not using the clutch, but it's something to bear in mind that it's not the smoothest, softest gearbox in the game. Saying that, one of the things that really did impress me about this bike is it actually comes with a 15-litre fuel tank, and that is the biggest of any bike in this sector. And we've been riding around the back roads of Nice today. We did a little bit of dual carriageway work, but it was mainly on B roads, like up and down the gearbox, full throttle brakes, and I still averaged 53 miles per gallon, which is seriously impressive. So by that sort of standards, you'll be getting over 200 miles out of a tank, which is something you don't usually expect from a bike in this sector. Something you do expect though is sharp handling, exciting ride, and this delivers it in abundance. It's got the same chassis as the 790 Duke, so it's super capable. It's really light, 186 kilo curb weight, so it's really nimble, and it almost feels like a supermoto. It feels quite high up, even though the seat height's low, and the way it just fires into corners. You can really just put the front end wherever you want it and it will go. In terms of suspension, unlike the KTM, this comes with 43mm fully adjustable KYB suspension, both front and rear. And I have to say, it's far more suited to hard riding. I'm not on the heavier side of things. I'm about 70 kilos with my kit on. And when you're being really aggressive with it is where it sort of feels at its nicest. When you run a bit slow, it doesn't give you the same sort of feel, like the same sort of gentle push through the stroke. So it would be really suited to track work. And in all honesty, it's not the kindest thing over the bumps. If I had this myself for a couple of days or even a few weeks, I'd quite like to have a little play around with it, maybe soften off the rebound as well, because it's really aggressive. But it's really nice that you do get adjustable forks and adjustable shock on a bike that is under £7,000. Saying that, one thing this could do with is a steering damper, because it is a bit flighty, and where it's so nimble and so agile, it can still be a little bit sensitive to, really big inputs from the bars and through the pegs. And talking of which, the seat height on this is 795mm. So that is about as low as it gets. It's really thin, as you can see. The bike is really thin. So if seat height is an issue for you, if leg reach is an issue, this is a really impressive bike. cfmoto also do an optional extra seat, which is 820mm. And to be honest, even though I'm short, I think I would have preferred that today, only because even with my little 28-inch legs, it's still quite cramped. The foot pegs are quite high, which obviously gives you more ground clearance, which is better for sporty riding. But after an hour and a half, 2 hours or so of riding, you really feel it on your legs and you need to stretch out. Also, where the seat height is so low, it's quite hard. I'd quite like to have a little bit more pad in it. I was getting a bit of a numb bum. In terms of comfort, it doesn't quite hit the spot, especially if you're a taller rider. There are probably better, more comfortable machines for you, especially in the sector. Now, we're going to move on to tech here, because this is quite an interesting machine. So it comes with a 5-inch TFT dash. It has 3 rider modes to choose from. It is Bluetooth compatible, so you can pair your phone up with it, and it also has cruise control as well, which is really impressive on a bike like this. I love cruise control. I think all